Okay, today we will answer the question, what are sockets? The objectives for this lesson will be to describe what a socket is, describe the difference between normal HTTP connections and sockets, and describe the different problems that sockets solve, as well as give examples of what features in your site could benefit from sockets. So, the problem. A good analogy for the concept of sockets comes from Shrek 2, when Donkey and Shrek are traveling to far, far away. Donkey keeps asking Shrek, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" And every time Shrek has to stop what he's doing and answer Donkey, and the answer never really changes, rarely changes, and it's very frustrating for everybody involved. So how does this relate to web servers and sockets? Let's analyze the problem. So to review on client-server relationships, typically the server relies on the client to request information. The server responds with that information, and the connection is closed. So what if we want updates from the server in real time? Based on what we know, we need to just repetitively send requests to the server over and over and over. Do you have this information? Do you have this information? And the answer may not change until the server actually has something new for you. So these repetitive requests and responses, doing the same thing over and over, not really doing much, increases overhead on the server, meaning that it's using a lot of resources, and generally performance will decrease as a result. So what's a solution? Well, back to the analogy, what if Donkey were to just say, when they started their journey to far, far away, "Hey Shrek, let me know when we get there." Shrek says, "Okay, sounds good. I'll let you know." When they get there, Shrek says, "Hey, we're there." And Donkey knows. So we get the same outcome with much less communication and frustration. So again, how does this relate to web servers and sockets? This is where sockets come in. Sockets are the solution to decrease the amount of communication necessary and give you the same result. Sockets provide a persistent bidirectional communication between client and server. So compared to HTTP requests, where client asks for something from the server and the server responds and the connection is closed, with sockets, a connection is set up and communication is allowed both between client and server, back and forth, only when necessary, only when updates happen, and only when you tell it to. So these fewer repetitive requests mean scalability and higher performance for your real-time aspects of your website. So how is a socket made? Well, it starts out very similar to a normal HTTP request. Then the client and server agree to replace this HTTP connection with a more permanent WebSocket connection. So the protocol switches from HTTP to WebSockets. Now this connection is, so in the request header you can tell that a WebSocket is being set up with the connection upgrade. So we're upgrading our connection from just a ephemeral or temporary HTTP connection to a more permanent socket connection. So how do sockets transfer data? Data is transferred over a socket between client and server through what are called frames. Each message between client and server is known as a frame. And the connection is maintained or kept alive with ping and pong frames. So in the background, client and server are sending pings and pongs to each other just to make sure that the other side is still there. Connections are closed gracefully with fin frames and timeout after one stops receiving pings or pongs. So what can you do with sockets? Some ideas that I had are chat rooms, notification feeds, or event feeds for your site, user collaboration, or any live data visualizations that you want coming from the server. So, any questions?